you mentioned it because it's just such a
Yeah, Moon
bizarre
Knight.
world that we're in.
Um,
Is
with the Moon Knight show, like I did like the first episode. I did enjoy it because it was like it's not a lot of action. It's just like it's a build up to something that could have been amazing.
right.
So I did enjoy Steve, the one of his personalities in the first episode. But then
Before
again, you have
before you
the
get too far, let me ask you
okay.
first. Do you have any experience with any of the Moon Knight comic books?
I did read some of them when I was younger, but I'm not the biggest person with the Moon Knight comics.
Yeah.
Because the problem with me is that I used to read a lot of comics when I was younger, but
Hmm.
after Disney bought Marvel, I started when I started reading what they did with some of the comics, it kind of destroyed a lot of my
Yeah.
how do I say this? It destroyed a lot of my passion for comics. So
Right.
it's like in the recent years I started to get back into more comics.
Hmm.
So yeah,
All right. So for me, um, read some, been a long time. Was more of a fan of like art than like Moon
yeah,
Knight is some great character or something that I think is worthy of this kind of attention or whatever. It's like he never quite had a place in the Marvel comic books. Like he didn't quite ever last long
no,
in
that is
different
true. Yeah,
things. Um, and then when they announced the show, I got to be honest, I didn't really even read the new comic books yet. Now, so for Christmas, my children got me the app, the Marvel app,
yeah,
so I could read comic books on my phone.
yeah,
And I was like, all right, well, that's fine. Well, sadly, as I've gotten into some of the new stuff, I realized it's even way worse than I thought it was. There's literally
yeah,
comic books where I'll start reading, I'll get to like page 7, I have to stop for a while because it's just so
yeah,
bad, or it'll be some bizarre, crazy, cringy thing. So as Moon Knight got closer, I read two of the more recent series. There's a brand new series right now that's happening
yeah,
that just started. I have not read that. I did look at the art, and I have to admit some of the cover art's amazing. Um, so that'd be great wall decorations. But I agree with you. Episode 1 starts, and you're like, okay, I'm along for the ride. It's
yep,
interesting. Um, they've radically changed the character in the comic book so they can have an excuse on why they're doing it here. We really haven't seen this part of a superhero story being told before.
no,
Steven is this weak little beta guy. That's fine if there's more to the story.
yeah,
My
it
biggest
is.
complaint with episode 1 was just simply the best action was happening off screen. Like we didn't get to see the cool fight.
Yeah,
People were left
that
dead and
that
covered
annoyed
in
me
blood.
really much because suddenly
Yeah.
you are like in a different scene and you are just sitting there and you're just like,
Yeah.
did he just fight the guys? Like,
I guess he just took all these people out, but we don't even really know what happened. Then you
yes,
transition to episode 2, and at that point we saw the bait and switch preview, right? We see
yeah,
female Layla, who's on screen there on the left.
yeah,
Layla comes in. We go, oh crap, he's got, strong woman. She's going to beat somebody up. The
yeah,
worst part of that shot, by the way, was that she gets thrown against a wall and walks away like she's okay. Like she's just a
yeah,
normal person. The amount of broken bones that she would have would, be several, if not, be mortally wounded. Anyway,
yeah,
then I hated the fact that we skip this Mark Spector Moon Knight and we bring in this Mr. Knight, which is this more
yeah,
modern version of this character. And it's
yep,
fine. I can't stand, and this is old school comic book fan. So I'm okay
yeah.
with being wrong here. I can't stand because he's not alone. This is my problem with Miles Morales and many other characters.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
are
That I totally
these
agree.
Tom Holland build, athletic build heroes. There's nothing
Yeah,
intimidating or muscular. Like if you were to go to a bar and this guy starts fighting, you'd be like, I could take the guy. Now I know he's super powered. He's going to kill me, but
yeah.
I don't
But
find
that's
that.
a feeling that you get.
I don't find that's not my fantasy level. That's not my escape. I want it's Batman. I'm I was of all of them I was the biggest Batman fan. So I like the
Oh
fact
yeah,
that it's this
yeah,
giant intimidating. He's trying to scare people. He's trying to fight for. But
yeah,
so Moon Knight's kind of like a knockoff of Batman, at least in
yeah.
part.
He is. He's kind of a little bit of a knockoff of
So
Batman.
episode 1 ends with that. You get a little bit more in episode 2, even though we had the
Yeah.
terrible purple Scooby Doo monsters. Which
Oh yeah.
let
Oh
me
my
pull
God, the
those.
CGI. That was man.
I got to
I was
pull
just
that
like,
up because somebody didn't know what I was talking about. So while you're talking, I'll
yeah.
try to pull up that
No,
purple
it's just like
monster.
the CGI. I'm just like, this is this is the MCU world. This is Disney, right?
Yeah,
You have the money to use good CGI. Like you have done better CGI in Marvel, the Ages of Shield. You've even used better
yeah,
CGI in that show,
sure.
and that was not the biggest popular show. Even though I like I say in streams, I did like Agents of Shield. It's like a bipolar relationship with it. It's like it's bad, but it's also have good moments, and it goes to bad again, and have some great moments again.
Yeah,
Um,
Agents of Shield. I did okay on Agents of Shield for our first few seasons. When was the we'll go off topic a little bit here because I don't remember when did we go to the other planet? Is it season 5?
oh, oh man, I don't remember. It's so many seasons.
When they went off planet, then it
Yeah, I
derailed
do.
for me, and I never have gone back. I have to be
Oh
honest.
yes, when they went
Yeah,
off planet and they met some new characters, they went to the future, the
yeah.
past,
That
and
I was out. So once they went to, I will say I was the biggest. I actually interviewed Titus Welliver. Who else I interviewed on the show? Anyway, because I thought the
mm,
most brilliant thing they ever did is in real time. For those of you who did not live in this, Winter Soldier and Agents of Shield lined up in a
yep,
continuation of the story. So when you
yep,
saw Winter Soldier in the theater, the next week on Agents of Shield, Hydra had taken over Shield, and you're like,
yep.
"Whoa, this is." It was a whole new level of planning and
Oh yeah,
organization.
but
I
one of the
can't
reason.
find the shot of the Moon Knight Jackal.
Oh okay,
This is the freaking Scooby Doo one, man. This is.
yeah.
Let me
Oh,
show you
before
this. Go ahead.
when it comes to also when they went off planet and stuff, they also did that to try to, remove that they are like with the MCU movies all the time. They had to like try to become their own thing. So in some of the last season of Agents of Shield, they kind of explain like a new universe, and they kind of explain the whole
Okay.
thing basically.
Right.
And the fun part is that they kind of explained it better than the movies
Mm,
itself. And I'm
that
just like
stinks. But it
that. I'm
shows how
just like,
good they could do.
yeah, because I admit that, like I've said so many times on streams, I hate the end game. I didn't like that movie at all, but I did just didn't like it.
I have a lot of mixed feelings. I have a lot of mixed feelings because it started with the 5 year jump. Like to me, that 5 year jump it creates a whole new ball of problems.
Hmm.
And WandaVision ignored it. Like we just ignored it. Like the Spider-Man movie just basically kind of has it, but it creates more questions and solutions. WandaVision ignores the 5 year jump. And then
Yep.
when Falcon and Winter Soldier starts, the fascinating part was okay, so people are blipped and other people come back. And you've created this chaos where people are living in other people's houses. You have people who are now basically been they're refugees. Okay, some of that was interesting, and then it didn't take more than an episode or two, and they ruined that too. So no matter what they've
Yep.
done, they've created so many more problems for themselves. Let's get back on Moon Knight though.
Yeah, of course, of
Uh,
course.
this was the
This is how we
Purple
Purple
monster from
Monster of
Scooby
Scooby Doo.
Doo looks
Yeah,
too much like the jackals in freaking Moon Knight. People, this is so sad that
it's actually true.
Scooby Doo.
I haven't thought about it, but when I look at it now, it really does. That is
I know.
crazy how
I gotta
much
find
it
the
looks
purple
like.
creature in Moon Knight, and we can kind of go back and forth because Moon Knight. I can just keep cutting my keywords down if I can find it. All I end up with is like purple versions of Moon Knight and stuff. I can never get to the actual creature, the CGI creature.
Yeah,
It's so bad. I was just like, it's just I don't know. I really just couldn't believe how bad it was.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
No, but
finding it, but it looks so. Fast forward episode 2, I come out of it like, all right, well, this isn't
it
going
had.
well.
Yeah, from
I
when I
mean,
watched it, I was
mm,
just like, it has potential. They can fix a lot of things in episode 3. I hope they will like change some stuff to make it look better, some of the story wise. And then you got to that whole thing that wasn't the girl that we see the next choice of being a Moon Knight, if I don't remember wrong.
yeah,
That
there's a side comment that they make about like if you won't do it, I'll take her, and you're
hmm.
like, oh no, come on, come
So I'm just
on,
like, dude, I want this character who's not fully established yet. Like we haven't
right?
gotten to see the character fully yet of Moon Knight, and in the show you already talk about if you don't do it, I'm gonna pick her because she's so much better than you. We have that
Yeah,
whole thing again that you know, strong female, she's stronger than you, she's better than you. If you don't do it, she's gonna be the next one.
right.
And you do that in a show where you have a character that's not fully developed yet. And I just feel like that is bad writing, really bad
Well,
writing when you do
episode
that.
3 is so badly written. So okay, you hit the nail on the head, but you didn't hit the home run. So here's the thing. We get to episode 3, he's not fully developed, but more
Yep.
importantly, we don't even understand what the rules are.
No,
So in
we don't.
episode 3, he blips back and forth to Steven, but
Yep.
not in a contradictory way in the other episode. The other episodes, it was like, you have to let me have control. Well, in episode 1, he was just stressed and he would blip back and forth. Like,
Yep.
so the rules don't matter. And then in this episode, Mark, he's the Mark persona, he's walking around in the daylight. So he's having a very difficult time fighting in a knife battle. We don't understand why he doesn't transform because you haven't told the audience,
Oh.
not
Oh
me.
yes.
You haven't told the audience. I read the comic books, but if you haven't told the
Yeah.
audience that he can't become the Moon Knight, they don't understand why he's losing a knife fight to a bunch of
Yep.
hoodlums, and then why he blips into some other personality who's killed them, but allegedly
Yep.
that's not Mark. None of this is explained. And then
Nope.
fast forward to when there is an actual action sequence in this episode because most of the episode 2 had no action really. He's
Barely
suddenly
actually.
getting stabbed with spears as Moon Knight, but earlier bullets were popping off of him. So we don't understand what
Yeah.
any of the rules are. We can't relate to the characters.
No,
We don't
that's so
understand what
true.
the rules are.
And that's something they should have explained at least the two first episode at least
Yeah.
to get into that. Like, we want to understand your powers. We want to understand the whole concept that you guys have been doing with this character, because it feels like you're just throwing us into a show, and everything before that we have like a lot of story we haven't gotten. You just throw us into a series, and we barely know anything about his powers.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's so true that episode 2 should have been able to explain what some of the rules are. And the fact that she just showed up for the divorce papers and all of that was just
oh
really,
yes.
she's not likable at all in
Oh
any of
no.
this.
She's so
Then in
annoying.
episode 3, you're like, okay, well maybe she's just kind of like arrogant, independent, archaeology, whatever, but she's deferring to Steven, the other personality. It was just
Yep.
all right, and we're not even getting to the worst part of episode 3 is the bizarre sky change where they just out of the blue just start
Oh,
changing
what?
the skies and you're like, "Okay, what is happening?" I thought, "Okay, well, they're just gonna rewind the
Yep.
clock and show you the sky." Oh no, they're
Yep.
changing the sky. Like they purposely cut to other cities who are seeing this,
Yep.
which means this is why the MCU stinks. This is why I think you hated Endgame and why I think you probably hate other MCU films too. The comic books all knew they're in a comic book. You
Yep.
didn't write something in Captain America that would dramatically influence Ghost Rider and not know it. They stayed on the
Yep.
same page. One of my favorite issues that I reread, because I told you I got that Marvel app,
Yep.
rewrote a Ghost Rider episode where Scarecrow dies. He kills the Marvel version of Scarecrow. It is this
Yep.
great, great shot, a
Yep.
frame, what a panel. And it is mentioned in that issue that Scarecrow had gotten away from Captain America, and it has a footnote issue, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
It's all interrelated. How on earth is the sky going to be changed in Egypt and you don't have 6 other superheroes, particularly Doctor Strange, who's supposed to be keeping
Yep.
track of this freaking planet,
Yep.
show up and take care of things? They don't care, do they?
Nope, they don't, and it's so disconnected. That's the problem with all the MCU shows and the movies put together is it's so a lot of those movies are so disconnected,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and it's like the same thing with Eternals. It's like I know I did hear this. I don't remember. I did read it, or I was watching a video of some of the people that we watch. And apparently, the original plan for Eternals that was gonna be set on a different universe and not the same universe,
Hmm.
because the movie it feels disconnected to mostly everything that MCU has done before this. But back to the Moon Knight thing, the whole moon thing, it's just when you talk about it, and I haven't thought about it before now, because I will say that I stopped watching the episode when they started the moon thing. I
Mm.
just ended the episode. I was just like, nope, I'm out of here. um, but yeah, Doctor Strange and all the other characters that are more involved with, that part of the MCU world, they should have noticed this. They're like, protecting the world basically, and all
Yeah,
that kind
you
of
wouldn't
stuff.
you wouldn't see, and this was the big problem with Falcon and Winter Soldier is they went to New York for the big finale. It was
Yeah,
so
yeah, I
stupid
remember
to
that.
go to New York because there's too many superheroes in New York. You're creating contradictions. Like you can't go
Yep.
and have a terrorist situation with United Nations officials and not have other New York superheroes show up. That would not make sense. Oh, so anyway, you're hitting again on another nerve that is something I don't think people are addressing, and that is the fact that why is a lot of this happening? Well, a lot of this is happening, in my opinion, because not only do they not care about legacy and history, they're also cheap bastards. They don't want to
Yep.
pay any royalty fees to people that wrote this stuff and invented it in
Yep.
1972, right? They
Yep.
want to make sure that they only deal with the stuff that Disney Marvel creates and owns. So what you're going to get is Mr. Knight. That's this guy.
Yep.
That's the version of the Steven powered one. This is what the
Yep.
bait and switch will be. The bait and switch will be a combination of Layla and
Yep.
Mr. Knight, not Mark Spector, not Moon Knight, not all that. This is what they're setting
Yep.
up. I don't think she'll become Moon Knight. I think he'll be kind of this beta superhero that will go forward into their version of an MCU. Because he's not really
Yeah.
masculine. He's just sort of like, he's male. There's men there, but they're not
Yep.
men.
Yeah. Right? And I'm not playing.